Hello students. So today we will be discussing about the literary and artistic developments in the medieval period. So let's discuss in detail how the literary and artists how they developed themselves and what were their contributions during the medieval period. Language and literature. Paper began to be made in India using the Chinese method. Many old texts were copied on paper. Works on Hindu law were produced. Sanskrit works were translated into Arabic and Persian. So now they started making paper in India during the medieval period, and what happened that the technology was taken from where? China. So what happened? Paper started being made in India, technological changes were taken from China, and many old texts were copied on paper. Whatever the old texts that those were written earlier, they were now being transferred to paper. Works on Hindu law were produced, Sanskrit works were translated into Arabic and Persian. The Turks made Persian the official language of the Delhi Sultanate. Amir Khusro, a great poet, musician and historian of the time, created the new style of Persian. It was called Sabak-e-Hindi or the style of India. So basically, Persian was made the official language of India during the medieval period. They started developing their own method to contribute to India through making Persian the language of the common people, and Sabak-e-Hindi or the style of India was considered great. The use of regional languages by Sufis and Bhakti saints helped these languages to flourish. Great works of regional literature were produced. These included the works of Vidyapati in Maithili, Chandidas in Bengali, Namadeva in Marathi, Kamban in Tamil, and Guru Nanak in Punjabi. The translation of the Gita and the Puranas into regional languages allowed the common people to read these works. A new language called Urdu. Now Urdu was being developed. Urdu is a new language which came into existence during the later medieval period. And Urdu evolved in the army camps. Urdu means camp. Meaning of Urdu is camp. Due to the mixing of Persian with regional languages. See, remember the Turks made Persian the regional language. Now Urdu was being made the regional language with the help of Persian. Urdu came to be widely used especially in towns and cities. Kabir composed in Bhojpuri mixed with Urdu. We have talked about Kabir, and Kabir was one of the poets, and his compositions were mainly into two languages, Urdu and Bhojpuri. Bhojpuri is the language of Bihar, as you all know. Architecture. The Indo-Islamic style of architecture evolved in India due to the mixing of Arabic and Persian styles with Hindu and Buddhist styles. So the Indo-Islamic style of architecture, it developed in India during that time. This architecture means the buildings, the townships, the whatever thing that is made, things that are made of brick and mortar, that is basically architecture. So the architecture was developed with the mixing of Arabic and Persian styles. The sultans built mosques, palaces, forts and towers in this new style. So forts were built, towers were built, mosques were built. Since Islam was very dominant in India during that time, so sultans made such architecture. The architectural style was basically mixed with Persian. Arches and domes commonly used in Central Asian architecture were used to construct large halls without pillars. During that time, large halls were constructed, and those constructions were in such a smart manner that they did not need pillars. Without pillars, those halls were created basically in the dome shape. So the architecture even during that time did not require pillars. Just imagine the technologically advanced, how smart and how evolved they were during that time. So the architectural structure basically developed in the style of Persian, and basically they started making huge halls. Floral and geometric patterns including Hindu motifs like the bell, swastika and lotus were used for the decoration of building surfaces. So floral and geometric patterns were used, swastika and bells were used, and human and animal forms were avoided. See, in the Islamic style of architecture, usually if you get a chance to visit Taj Mahal, you will see on the surface of the structure you will find writings, usually writings in Urdu, but you will never find, like in caves they used to have paintings. In cave paintings there were people who would draw pictures, but in Persian style of paintings humans and animal forms were avoided on the architecture. Remember this very well. Passages from the Quran were beautifully carved on the walls. These are fine examples of calligraphy. Calligraphy is basically writing in a stylized manner. That is what calligraphy means. Temples to personal gods such as Ram, Krishna and Vishnu were built. Dargahs were built in the name of renowned peers. So these were the architectural developments during the medieval period. Let's talk about painting. The artists of the medieval period painted excellent miniatures. Miniatures means small paintings, small piece of art which you can find in the medieval period. They used to decorate their walls with small pieces of art, not very big but very miniature form of paintings. Miniatures were used to decorate books. These miniatures were also used to decorate books. Since paper was already invented and paper was being used in India now, so miniatures were being printed upon the books. Some artists even started painting portraits. So some artists started painting portraits. Portraits means a picture of a person. Basically a person would stand for some hours and his picture would be created by, his painting would be created by the artist. That is called portrait. Let's talk about music. During the Sultanate period, the Turks brought with them the musical traditions of Central Asia. They introduced new musical instruments such as the rabab and sarangi. Sarangi is a stringed instrument, and rabab, I want you to have a look and find out what rabab is. This is your job to do. The rulers and nobles encouraged musical gatherings. Ragas, which form the basis of Indian classical music, began to be composed. Ragas are basically what we can say, ragas are musical transitions, basically musical forms. Ragas are basically creation of music. So those creations, they were called ragas. So ragas is a kind of music. Amir Khusro is said to have invented the sitar. So Amir Khusro, sitar is again a stringed instrument. So Amir Khusro was the person who is said to have invented sitar. Sitar, even today, if you are in India, sitar has a very strong influence in Indian classical music. Any cultural gathering, you will definitely find instruments like sitar, tabla. In now recently, they have added harmonium and such musical instruments. He also introduced some ragas and popularized a new form of Sufi devotional singing known as qawwalis. So ragas were formed, and qawwali is basically, you must have heard qawwali. Qawwali is a form of singing with clapping. So qawwali you would have definitely heard. So this was also developed during that time. At the same time, the bhakti devotees developed a form of devotional singing called kirtan. So the bhakti saints were people who would devote their time praying to their Hindu gods. So basically they started singing devotional songs, and these devotional songs were called kirtans. Kirtans also you must have heard. Whenever you go to a temple, you would definitely be able to hear a kirtan. The Indo-Islamic interaction that took place during the Sultanate period continued throughout the Mughal period. So that is Indo-Islamic interaction, which means the Turks, Persians, and these style of interaction, it continued. As you have learned in the earlier chapters, most Mughal rulers encouraged the blending of the Persian and Indian styles in literature, language, music, painting, and architecture. Except for architecture, most of these artistic creations were for the royal household and at best for the nobility for a long time. They are now available for public viewing in museums and on the internet. They embellish India's cultural heritage and are a synthesis of Hindu and Muslim cultures. So this brings us to the close of our chapter and end of our syllabus. We will continue with revision in our next class. Have a good day, students.